All right, beautiful people, welcome back to another video. For those that don't know me, my name is Coach Jess. I am a certified strength conditioning specialist as well as lecturer at Norwich University in the Health and Human Performance department, exercise science to be specific. And I am going to be talking at a NSCA state clinic this weekend, talking about speed development training. And so this lecture, presentation, video, whatever you want to call it, we are going to be talking about load velocity profiling, what it is, how to implement it in training, because this is just another method to speed development training and implementation. Yes, it is slightly more advanced, so we need to understand, different components of mathematical equations and understanding the force velocity curve and all that stuff. But let's dive into it. So, what is load velocity profiling? So, it's just our way of being able to understand that if we give our athlete a given load and tell them to sprint with it, how fast they are going to perform that sprint. So, if we go back to the force velocity curve and understand that if my weight is higher, my velocity is going to be slower, and vice versa. If the weight is light, I should be moving pretty fast. So, how can you utilize this? It's great as an assessment tool. It's a great way for us to be able to see my athlete is strong here and weak here, and I need to touch those weaknesses, but also continue to make those strengths strengths. When we are talking about profiling and being able to create a profile, again, it's just our way of separating our strengths and weaknesses. And the reason why you want to make it individualized is because you could have the same two athletes run the same 40-yard time, 100-meter sprint, doesn't matter, and they get the same time. However, one is going to be way better at acceleration, and one may be extremely good at max velocity. So the one that has great max velocity needs to improve their acceleration. The one that has great acceleration needs to improve their max velocity. So how we program for those athletes is going to be completely different. So now how do we actually test this? So when we test this, we have four different categories that we want to approach. And we want to make sure that we're measuring and recording times, especially split times, because it's just going to be so much easier for you when we actually get into this next part of this presentation and this video talking about velocity decrements. But first thing that you want to do is we're going to have a free run. So I'm going to have my athlete run 30 plus yards. Keep it even. We're going to say 40 yards. I'm going to clock their time. I'm going to get their split time. So that way I know at the 10 yard, they ran it at a 188. At the 20 yard or 15 yard or whatever, they hit all these numbers. Then we're going to perform a 25-yard sprint at 25% body weight. So if you're 150 pounds, you're going to want to do 25% of your body weight at 25 yards. Get those split times, write it down. Then you are going to do a 20-yard sprint for 50% of your body weight. Remember, now that we are getting higher in our percent of body weight, our speeds should be extremely slow during this sprint. Once we get all that data and once we get all our split times and all that fun stuff, this is where we get to get creative, and this is where we start to actually program and implement strategies to make our athletes stronger and faster. So this is where we start talking about utilizing velocity decrements. Excuse me. So all this is just understanding how much our speed is reduced by resistance. So if we put on, let's just say 25 pounds on the sled and have our athletes sprint at said distance, how much faster or how much slower does this individual need to be? So we have three different categories that we are going to go over in our velocity decrement. So we have 10%, 25%, and 50%. When we're talking about 10%, this is technical work. So this means that of my max velocity, I am at 90%. So my resistance should be 10% of my max velocity. Okay, so 90% of max velocity, this is our late acceleration, this is our technical work, and we are performing a 20-yard sprint. And we're going to get the time for that. We got to figure out our goal velocity and our goal time. That way we know how much weight we have to put on our sled. Next is 25% velocity decrement. This is our mid-acceleration work. This is our 75% of our max velocity. This is going to be our resisted drills. This is our mid-acceleration. This is going to be performed at a 15-yard sprint. Lastly, we have 50% velocity decrement. This is going to be our maximum power and maximum strength. Also, sprint specific strength at 50% of max velocity. So my speed should be 50% slower than my 90% max velocity. And we are performing that at a 10-yard sprint. Now, this next slide that we're going to go over is we're going to talk about the mathematical kind of problems and solutions to understanding how much weight we should be putting on our sled and getting our times. So this next section, if you need to slow down, pause it, rewind it, re-listen to it, take notes, make sure you do so because I want you guys to be able to understand this material and I want you to be able to implement this as soon as possible. That way you can get just another tool in your toolbox as a coach, a trainer, doesn't matter, but being able to apply this right away is going to be essential for your development as a coach, especially if you're trying to develop your athletes' speed development. So, first thing that we're going to start with our 50% velocity decrement. So we know at 50% VDEC, I should be at 50% of my max velocity. So we have to figure out our goal velocity, and then we have to figure out our goal time that I should take with said weight. Okay. Now, another thing that you're going to notice is when you are doing these velocity decrements at the end, if let's just say your 50% is faster than your 75%, then maybe your athlete's profile means that you have to train them in that specific area. Okay, so what we got is we have to take our 10-yard sprint time. I just came up with some times here. So our 10-yard sprint was 1.88. So now I need to figure out our goal velocity. So I'm going to divide distance by time. I got 5.31 yards per second. I know that I am at my 50% max velocity, so I need to take the yard per second and multiply it by 50%. Again, we can't take the whole number, so we have to multiply 5.31 by 0.5, and that's where we're going to get 2.65 yards per second. We don't just end there. We have to figure out our goal time now. So this is our goal velocity at 50% VDEC. So now I have to go in and figure out my goal time at my 10-yard sprint. And again, as you are going through this, being able to understand why your athlete is maybe moving faster with one weight versus the other will help you see where their strengths and weaknesses are. So we're going to take our goal velocity and we're going to divide that by 1 second. We're going to then multiply 1 over 10 yards because we're sprinting at 10 yards. And we're going to get 1 divided by 0.265. Once we divide all of that up, we should get 3.77 seconds. So that is our goal time. We're going to do the same process for the other two VDECs. Now, when it comes to figuring out the resistance, yes, if you don't have a 1080, then you will have to do a couple reps to figure out what that weight is. But once you get it, you're going to start to see immense benefits in your athlete's capability of sprinting with a given load. So we know that 25%, I am at a 75% VDEC. So I have to sprint at 15 yards. So my time, let's just say, was 2.4 seconds. I'm going to take 15 yards, divide that by 2.4, and I'm going to get my yards per second, which in this case is 6.25. So I am covering 6.25 yards per second. But remember, we have weight, and we need to figure out our true velocity with that certain decrement. So we're going to take 6.25 times 75% VDEC. Remember, we can't do a whole number. So we need to do 6.25 times 0.75. And that's where we're going to get 4.64 yards per second. So we know that we have to go a little slower. Okay, so that is our goal velocity currently. Now we're going to take the same process, 4.64 yards per second, divide that by 1. Second, multiply 1 divided by 15 yards, because remember we're at 15 yards. And we're going to get a number that we're going to divide 1 by 0.31, and our goal time is going to be 3.19 seconds. Okay. From here, the last piece that we need to do is 10% VDEC. Again, these are super random numbers, so if you notice a difference in certain loads and velocities, this is a great time to start to critically think on why these numbers are at the times that they are at. So 20-yard sprint time, let's just say, was 3 seconds. We got to take 20-yard, divide by 3. That should give us 6.67 yards per second, but we're not done there. We have to take 6.67 and multiply that by our VDEC, which we know if we're at 10% weight, we should be at 90% max velocity. So we need to multiply by 0.9, which is going to give us exactly 6 yards per second. That is our goal velocity. Now, from there, we're going to figure out our goal time, and we're going to go through the same process that we did. It's just going to be a different yardage. So we're going to take 6.67, or sorry, 6. We're going to take 6 exactly yards, divide that by 1, multiply by 1 over 20. Everything's going to cancel out. And now we're going to be left with 1 divided by 0.3 seconds. Our goal time is going to be 3.33 seconds. Now, if you go back and you realize that our 75% VDEC was 3.19, we now know what athlete's weaknesses are from these goal velocities and goal times. We could use this as an assessment tool, and we could use our profiling, but we should already know that these VDECs are going to be skewed because of the performance that our athlete did during our 25% body weight, our 50% body weight, and our 75% body weight. So again, these are just great assessment tools to get your athlete to get stronger in areas that they are weak in, but also continue to strengthen the areas that they are strong in to make just a whole package. So I hope you guys like this video. Like I said, if you need to rewind it, take notes, do whatever you need to do. If you need to leave a comment on some different things about this topic or questions, please feel free to leave your comments. I will make sure to answer them in a quick matter. I'm super excited to talk at this conference and this state clinic. It's just a huge opportunity to share a passion of mine, but to inspire the up and coming coaching generation and training generation of practitioners, doesn't matter, but being able to understand this information and this knowledge is crucial for just athletic development. So go ahead and like, subscribe, share with your mama, share with your granny. I don't care who you share with, just support the brand. And always remember, love, peace, chicken grease, and I'll see y'all in the next one.